Kenan and Kello, every cool cat and kitten out there in podcast land, and welcome to Kenan and Kel with Allie. Joining me today is Adam Aaron.
Yeah, bravo.
If you were 45 minutes late to the recording session, your name might be Aaron.
It's like the Betty and Lou intro. I'm Lou.
My plan is to take it off the rails right out of the gate.
The show is Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. We're also joined by our cousin Allie. Welcome.
Kello.
Welcome, Allie. Great to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Allie and I are usually doing another podcast called Finding Monster Right, which is a comedy show about all kinds of creatures and mythology. We'll talk more about that later. But you're joining us because you're a true Fanta at heart.
I truly am. Yeah, I'm in the vocal booth with the orange sound foam on it. That's how you can tell. I've bought y'all's shirts. I've listened to almost every episode. I watched a lot of Kenan and Kel for my guest appearance today, but I wanted to bring up Adam. Mm-hmm. So in the episode where Kel has to quit orange soda, there's an orange soda monster that he hallucinates.
That's correct.
There was a monster, and you didn't call me.
Oh, we did not have you on the monster centric. Oh no. It's true. We're considering having you on the Skeletor vs. Mothman episode.
Oh, yeah. Because Mothman's a thing.
Mothman's a famous monster. We wanted to bring you on to talk about an essential piece of the Kenan and Kel formula.
Perhaps the most important supporting character.
Truly.
Kyra.
Yes.
This is a Kyra special, everybody.
The Kyra special.
All right, everybody, give your Kyra special theme song that Adam will cut out probably. Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, Kyra, I love your ways. I don't know.
Oh, Kyra Rockmore, why don't you grab for me? Kyra is the sister to Kenan. That's her top character trait. And she appears in only 28 of the 62 episodes.
Yes.
Gee, Adam, that's almost half.
Almost.
Kyra is played by Vanessa Baden, who is still a famous person, who is a wonderful human being.
She has won an Emmy in recent years.
Yeah, she's great.
Deserved.
Mm-hmm.
What did she win an Emmy in, Adam?
I believe she was a producer on a television show.
Probably good production.
She must have gotten a lot of experience, in the early days of her career. When she was 9 years old and then 12 years old and a year later.
She won a Daytime Emmy Award for her performance in Giants, the web series. Which she was also a co-writer and co-producer of. And it's great that she's from being a toddler.
A tot.
On, I think Gullah Gullah Island was her first show, and then moving on to Kenan and Kel and so forth until she's achieved so much. It is funny seeing pictures of her nowadays because she still has the Kyra face. It's just on a full-grown woman.
That's how people are, yeah.
It's almost like she's just a human, and she has this similar features to when she was a child, except,
No, she's kind of like a cyber entity who lives inside Paramount Plus and infects my screen whenever I select an episode that she is in.
On this episode of Finding Monster Right, we are examining Kyra the Beast.
Oh, Kel, yeah.
Health, yeah.
Health, yeah. There we go. That's what I was going to say for sure. Definitely. We didn't have a talk about the devil's words. If you ever want to hear Adam use grown-up language, come on down to Finding Monster Right. I'm sure you'll be like, whoa, this isn't the Adam I grew up with.
It's not my daddy's Adam.
Oh, God.
Before we get too far, let's quick talk about some Kenan and Kel news. I have an interview that Kenan was on. He was specifically asked about rebooting Kenan and Kel. This was actually the Mashable interview from last week. I decided to include it, only half of it last time. So on Reboot Kenan and Kel, he said this: "I'd love to do it with a twist. We're in the age of reboots. I like to do Kenan and Kel on ice or tour it, bring it to different towns."
Aw.
And it's very nice. And I would love to see they go to Philly, go to the center and just watch Kenan and Kel like it perform before me.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun. I feel like they would do like a stand-up kind of routine. You know, they would like maybe they would act something out like sketch comedy and then do some like Q&A or panel or.
That doesn't make sense. I don't think they'd bring like the set around with them. And we'd have to, like, you know, like, oh, I guess they're in Rigby's for this scene. I think it's more Kenan and Kel, the actors.
No, I think they would do Good Burger, Rigby's, like, bring it with them.
I think they could just, like, I mean, how do, like, Broadway and off-Broadway, like, productions do it where they just, like, take all the... How does Audrey 2 get from, like, you know... New York to Chicago in like a big tractor trailer or something.
If I'm recalling the Alien production, the reason why, or in the Shrek, the dragon prop for that, it moves around by high school performances. When high schools put it on, then like, you know, the one official dragon goes there. So maybe that's what they do. Teens all around the world have to start doing Kenan and Kel based productions, and then Kenan and Kel themselves will show up and kick the kids out for like that week.
Good Burger the musical? Is that a thing yet?
Ooh,
Adam.
we
need to make this.
How many t-shirts have you sold?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, this is. Wow.
That's probably the best idea I think I've ever had.
I would edit early if we weren't going to talk about Kyra for an extended period of time.
All right, let's get back on track on the Kyra train. We need to talk about the sister of Kenan, Kyra Rockmore.
And what better way to do that than exploring her various roles? I've made a list for everyone. I wrote like a one-sentence description of Kyra stuff. And Aaron, do you want to kick us off with your number 5?
How about first I talk about this list you made, Adam? It is almost heartbreaking to see the absolute lack of initiative and passion and character development on behalf of Kyra.
It's kind of all laid out there, isn't it?
So it's everything she did. Some of her highlights might include aids Roger in picking out diamond jewelry for Cheryl, and that is her entire role in the episode. Some others might include eats dinner with the family, leaves Chicago.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything. She really did nothing in that whole.
She didn't do anything.
Well, yeah. If it was a like truly like not memorable performance or occurrence, then I only wrote a couple words. It wasn't worth it. I wrote 250 words total
about Kyra.
About Kyra.
I will take a bit of the heat off of Adam here and say that this was a little bit of my idea, specifically because I came up with the title before. This is how Finding Monster Right works. I came up with the title before I came up with the idea. And the title in this case is Kyra Alone, which is a reference to Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra.
The Zuko Alone episode, where we just zoom in on the one character. And I think it's worth giving Kyra her time in the spotlight. But it was not going to be a top 10. I cannot extend this to that degree.
Right. So, but anyways, I appreciate the list, and I'm sure Vanessa Baden appreciates it. And Vanessa, though you did not have the most remarkable roles in this show, you will always be a member of the Kenan and Kel family. Thank you for your service. I am going to kick it off with one of probably your most memorable moments, which involves the martial art of karate. When you so graciously and generously and exuberantly demonstrated your skills to your extended family members on Turkey Day.
Yes, Turkey Day, she performs some karate.
Ha, 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 ha!
I think she does some kicks, and she splits like a 2x4 in a big way. And
she's demonstrating for Aunt Gertie?
Yeah, well, Aunt Gertie misses her cue in that scene. Kyra chops the board, Aunt Gertie, like, reacts, like, is blown back, and then the explosion effect goes off, and she gets blown back again.
Right. Yes. So, you know, I really made my list based off of what I remembered, and I do remember that great scene in Turkey Day, so... That's my number 5. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next because I feel like Adam's gonna really bring in like the definitive, like, yeah, that is number 5.
Yeah, that's how I try to do it. You saw my list. I make a lot of criteria points and other angles, although I was really reaching on this one. But please, Allie, what's your 5?
My number 5 is parental guidance.
Great episode for her.
Yeah. She's kind of like distracted by Kel for a bit. Like, they need to keep her upstairs, so Kenan just kind of sends Kel up there as like a toy for her to play with.
I think she's like doing his nails, painting them.
Yeah, which is something that I've always thought. Aaron, what's your opinion on this? I think Adam could pull off like some black nails or something.
I think yes. Just needs like a denim jacket and like maybe some different glasses.
That's Adam, Stefan, or Kel. Like,
I like the idea of going around the family and everyone adds another piece to like my ensemble.
Oh my gosh,
that's what your wedding will be like.
Yeah, I come out the wedding with like a scarf and like, an antenna.
That's yes. So sure, absolutely. Black nails for the win.
Yeah. She's like painting Kel's nails. She's like calling her friends and she's like playing with dolls. Kel like plays with the doll by going like, "Oh man, the weave they gave me is so bad that my head just exploded," and then rips the doll's head off and like, there's blood everywhere. Which y'all have a sister, that's how people actually play with dolls.
Yeah, no, it's very accurate.
Yeah, and then she, when she discovers that Kenan has hired a pair of actors to play the part of his parents for a meeting with the principal, and then it led to inviting the principal to the Rockmore's house for dinner, so a whole scheme has to happen. Because that's how we do things here.
Kenan be scheming.
Yeah. Do you ever think they're gonna add them to that fighting game with the Nickelodeon characters?
All-Stars Brawl? I really just wanted them to. I really want them to be like a tag team. They're both in there. They're like popping on each other's backs and
what is this
doing
game?
Dance moves. All-Star Brawl. It's a Nickelodeon game where like, they get like Danny Phantom and XJ9 and Hey Arnold, like, and they're like fighting characters like Super Smash Brothers, but with the Nickelodeon cast.
Oh, that's awesome! I could totally see like a little Kenan wearing a Rigby's outfit, and then Kel comes by and like sprays orange soda.
Orange soda spray attack. Yeah, that's his side B.
What's the opposite of an assist trophy? That's Kel. He just comes in and makes everything worse. Yeah. But no, then she when she discovers that the parents are imposters, she kind of squeezes them for $10 in allowance money.
A smart move, Kyra.
Yeah. What I liked about this is that when she actually has Kel in her clutches, the result is actually kind of wholesome and nice. They're just playing along and she's being a little bit creepy, but not that much.
Yeah, it's not an overly deviousness of her.
I will say I have a bit of the Rachel disease where I was watching the rest of this episode and I was just cringing out of existence.
Yeah, well, I think that's our greatest accomplishment as this podcast. We taking Kenan and Kel and distilled out the cringe.
Yeah.
And replaced it with a whole new brand of cringe.
When we watched the 3 girls, 2 guys in a Cineplex or whatever it's called, I watched that with Adam, and I was I cringed a little bit in one direction, and then every time I just kept cringing in that same direction until there was a point where I was 180 degrees, my head was on the floor.
You should have seen me watching House Sitter. I mean, that episode makes me just crawl under the covers and just hide.
Yeah.
Need a massage after this podcast. I don't know how you do it.
I'm definitely immune to it by this point. I've taken little small doses of that poison all throughout my life, so I just have a natural immunity.
You could just watch a gut-wrenchingly cringy TV show and feel nothing.
Yes,
yeah, so
I find this pleasant.
One day they'll study your corpse. They'll be like, he had this rare anomaly in his rare gene. He can withstand massive amounts of secondhand embarrassment.
Well, the thing is that I think I've isolated it. It's for Kenan and Kel, I'm immune. If I put on any other 90s sitcom, especially one I didn't watch, Hey Dude or some nonsense like that, it's 100% of the time I cannot even fathom it. Yeah, if it's someone else's nostalgia, it does not work on me. All right, so my number 5 is from the big movie Two Heads Are Better Than None. This is one that I wanted to highlight because of how useful Kyra is. Roger and Cheryl and Kyra would be dead if it was not for her interference. at the very end, swooping in to smartly repair the car, even though it was missing key components. Using a heretofore unknown mechanical knowledge, she's able to use her hairpin to connect the right things and speak some jargon no one knows. And plus, I like her in the beginning, too. This is the eldest we ever see Kyra, and she's definitely grown as an actress. I liked seeing her fully taking on the role of, like, all right, I know one thing is I love Kel, but I'm going to milk that for what's worth and do other stuff, too. I think it's a good showing of Kyra.
This is kind of a better finale for Kyra than it is for the show.
That's very true.
Yeah, great way to put it. I think you're right, Adam. That's actually my number 4, so I'm just going to jump into it.
Oh, great.
Yes, Kyra's performance in that one is really good, and it does make you think, right, because that is clearly not filmed on set. First off, it was awesome of Vanessa Baden to switch sets. I mean, she went from, as a kid, she went from Florida to California. I mean, that's a pretty big deal for a young actress.
That's huge.
And I can't imagine she or her family was making like a tremendous amount of money for it. But
no,
I mean,
kid role is not worth a lot.
Yeah, but they still made the commitment. So that's one thing, right? The second thing is, I wonder. I mean, we talk a lot about the set and how great the set is, and the novelty of Kenan and Kel being on stage with a live audience. And I do wonder though if it is constrictive to some actors and actresses. I mean, you really have to perform. And maybe maybe it would be beneficial, like, to do another kind of sitcom where you could have unlimited takes and not be thinking about what the audience is thinking about.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's in this element of the TV movie, she had, like, maybe a little more leeway, and she didn't have to nail it first try, or sort of kind of do okay with nailing it.
Yes, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So she did a great job there. And yeah, definitely that mechanical knowledge, I love when characters having hidden talents is a theme throughout Kenan and Kel.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've talked about Kel's hidden talents many times, but Kyra's, also very great.
I'll jump right into my number 4, and quick talk about Mo Sweater Blues. This is one that, like, I specifically remembered it because there's a lot of dimensions that you see of Kyra. It starts off with her, like, Kel's agreed to, like, babysit her, and, she's all about him. But when Kenan's date goes awry, she learns about it. She, like, sees the stains on his date's sweater, and, like, then she's, like, looped into this. I think that's a very good role for her on the show, is when, for what the show is, Kenan and Kel getting into trouble, she witnesses it and tags along. She helps out. She becomes part of the distraction efforts. We saw that in Turkey Day, and we see that here. She goes with them to the Chinese restaurants. There's even a good line when, like, Kenan and Kel leave, and it's just his date and her. And she's, like, covering for him. She's saying, like, oh, maybe he's just going to get you a gift. And it's very wholesome to see that kind of a good energy between siblings in that encounter.
Yeah.
I completely agree, Adam. That's a great episode.
Allie, what is your 4?
My number 4 is actually also Two Heads Are Better Than None.
Oh.
I think we're going to run into this problem a lot.
Yeah, I'm hoping that bringing you on adds some more variety. If you heard our Kel's Talents episode, it was a lot of us just recounting the same, like, 4 scenes over and over. Two Heads, it's a good showing, for sure, right?
Yeah.
All right, Allie, why don't you kick us off with 3?
All right, so my number 3 is Clownin' Around.
Another great episode.
So it's Kyra's birthday, and she is trying to impress this weirdly awful child named Megan.
She's a very proto-Megan to Drake and Josh.
Yeah, this is like a pre-crossover.
No, but just a spoiled, rotten brat.
She has, like, a black leather jacket, but, like, for children? I'm not sure about that one, Chief. And, Megan is instantly smitten with Kel in the way that Kyra normally is. And Kyra's kind of, like, as respectfully as possible. And, like, they really put in an effort to, like, write her as more mature than a 9-year-old should be. But she's like, hey, I was hoping we could kind of see eye to eye about this. Like, you're kind of stepping on my man a bit. He's not my man, but, like, we're whatever. And then, like, eventually, like, they've had enough of Megan, and Kel just steps in and is like, what did you say about my girlfriend? And it was, like, a whole, like... It was, like, kind of sweet to see that whole thing fulfilled. And then when Megan's out, Kel's like, all right, you can stop hugging me. Like,
yeah, it's a real arc. I think Kyra's very mature it's her birthday episode, so it's like that's all it's about. Her maturing and growing, getting older, and you see like this side of her that's like really reasonable, and she goes as far as she can, and then she takes matters into her own hands by spilling a big bowl all over her.
A big bowl of punch, which I like that's like, you can mature and stuff, but don't lose what makes being a kid so fun. Like that kind of whole stock moral. But in this case, instead of like having fun, it's like, okay, but sometimes, yes, be reasonable, but sometimes you do have to pour punch on somebody.
Yeah, my response to that is yes. Sorry, I'm panicking over here about my list.
Me too, yeah.
I did not spend enough time making.
Aaron's like, I can't believe I forgot clowning around.
I'm like, oh, that was a good one. I'm like, oh no, Mo Sweater Blue is only number 4.
Aaron, can I call upon you for your number 3, or do you want to wait for a sec?
You can, as long as you refresh me about why I love this episode so much.
Sure.
Get the Kel out of here.
Oh, this is also my number 3.
Okay, perfect. See, I might not be there, but I'm lined up with you, Adam. I got it.
Not on my list. We got variety.
We do definitely have variety so far.
A little spice of life in here. Get the Kel out of here starts off with, it's good because this is a Roger versus Kel episode, but Kyra sides with Kel on this episode. It starts off with her crafting a bust.
Yes, this is what I remember.
A bust of Kel. It does not look like Kel, but she has turned her love, her passion for this teen
into art.
Yeah, she's like a Renaissance person.
Yeah, she's a Renaissance person. Great character arc.
Like, I've given it life.
I'm sorry for saying that she does not have any monumental moments. She clearly, she made the bust of Kel.
She made a
this
monument.
This is a monument moment.
Yeah.
Same page. We're on the same page, but on someone else's page.
Right.
Different lines, same page.
Yes, that's right.
Kel is her muse that she uses to win a Blue Ribbon Award winning. Like, this is first place she got for this clay contraption.
A true
Kel.
magnum opus.
And that's just where it gets started. Later in the episode, Kel partakes in the family dinner secretly. He's hiding under the table, and she's the one that is sneaking him lamb and other bits. So it's you see that kind of that sneaky side of Kyra that comes out every now and then. She's got a secret, but unfortunately she's low totem pole. She's the youngest one in the household, so everyone kind of catches her tricks.
Right. And it's Kenan and Kel, right? The show is called Kenan and Kel. So Kyra is, in a way, she's capped by how much she can develop, but when she's used very smartly in this episode, because it's Roger and Kel, and you must choose a side, and she chooses.
Aaron, do you want to do number 2?
I would love to do number 2. So, like I said about this kind of set changing, I think it's healthy for Kyra and probably most young actors and actresses to change sets every now and then, especially if they're not as good at improv. So, a great set change and a great time that Kyra really does play a supporting role is Attack of the Bugmen. So, the family is out to dinner.
Because of her straight A's.
Yes, because of her straight A's, and if that didn't happen, who knows? And of course, this is the great episode where all of the Rockmore's belongings have been stolen, and Kyra does a very good job of helping Kenan stall, making sure that the parents are kind of distracted.
She catches on, too. She knows that before their parents do, she knows he's acting weird. And Kel lets it slip, and that's what she does. She teams up with them. She says, well, that's a really bad situation. I do want all our stuff back, so I'll help you out. Bring in the ice cream barge. Right. And to Vanessa's point, I don't know if she is saying this, she was a trooper along with everyone else getting ice cream barged.
Yes. So, that's up there because when I think of that episode, I do think of the family out to dinner, and I love when Kyra's shining like that.
They eat dinner in a restaurant that, okay, so as somebody who has worked in a petting zoo before, it's rare that this show has a setting that makes me cringe. But like the restaurant full of farm animals, I'm just like, I like ran screaming out of the room. Like no, absolutely not. And then like fiend of the show of Finding Monster Right, Doug Jones is there for some reason.
Yeah, the guy that plays the amphibian man is just the waiter.
He's also the fawn in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, it's very... And just out of nowhere, I think that might be the craziest cameo in all of Kenan and Kel.
I don't know this man. I don't know who you're referring to.
You gotta watch Shape of Water, Aaron.
Shape of Water.
The Shape of the Water. It won Best Picture a couple years back.
Water can be any shape is the idea. Like love, I think.
Formless. Shapeless. Like water.
Yeah, you watched the intro.
That's Bruce Lee. That's like one of the most famous quotes about water ever. I work at a charity.
Oh yeah, you do
water.
Work for a water company.
Yeah,
I know the water quotes. I should watch this movie.
You should watch this movie during work hours. That's how
I'm doing research. Like
Shape of Water. Yeah, maybe we'll do a charity screening of it at a movie theater.
Get Doug Jones. We'll ask him about Kenan and Kel. My number 2, we already mentioned, and I just want to double down on Clownin' Around. Excellent birthday episode. It's probably the most Kyra-centric episode on the whole show. I like her party. Her guests are just a bunch of kids of various ages and stuff like that, but they're dancing, they're having a good time, and yeah, all the things we talked about before, definitely very mature. She was the most mature, perhaps, in this entire episode. And that's the one that Kenan and Kel got traumatized by a robbery.
Very, very important episode talking about the structure of power in Rigby's. I gotta go back and listen to that one. That was probably one of our best episodes.
Yeah, for sure. I have to listen to Hemingway again. I don't think I have since we did it, and we talk about it literally every episode.
I don't know how that Hemingway slipped. Hemingway was not a kid-friendly author.
No.
who is saying hey, I know, let's have Kenan and Kel be inspired by Ernest Hemingway. The writer must have been reading Hemingway or something, listening to an audiobook.
That's not even 15-year-old high school topics.
No way.
no.
It's way out there.
If they were really inspired by Ernest Hemingway, that episode would have been Kel downing a glass of whiskey and ripping off his shirt and jumping into Lake Michigan and pulling out a whole muskellunge or something. And then saying something horrible about women, probably.
Yes, or just spending time on an ocean vessel. I mean, that would have been a funny episode, right? There's an episode for you, Adam. But yeah, they want to catch a fish or something, and so they end up on a boat. And it's raining, and they're in these raincoats.
Yeah, we're always looking for the undone episodes. Kenan and Kel on a boat hasn't occurred in a good
way. Yes.
Fun fact: Ernest Hemingway donated some specimens to the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia, and I've actually worked with some of his specimens before. I've done snails the Hemingway.
Oh, wow.
No way.
You've actually done things the Hemingway.
I have.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Is that something he did a lot?
I mean, it's mostly with, fish and stuff. Fishing and hunting, big game stuff. But, also, smaller specimens, that happens sometimes. You just write down where you found it, coordinates and everything, and then you go up to a museum and I'm please give a home to this dead snail. And that's how museums happen.
Did they preserve it, or did they if somebody donates a specimen, do they put it in something, or?
Historically, yes. My job at the museum was actually taking super old specimens that where the lids had been cracked and that kind of thing, and most of the alcohol had evaporated, and then just dumping out the old alcohol, putting in new stuff, replacing all of the lids with some high quality plastic, non-biodegradable things.
That is important.
So you may be one of the few people that actually know what a Hemingway is.
Mm-hmm. 2.4 pounds. Next question.
What are
right.
Hemingways?
Well, Allie, it's back to you. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Kyra's assorted moments from Bye Bye Kenan Part 2.
Great. Great call. That made my close calls list. So tell us a bit about them.
I liked her dynamic when she's in the new house with Kenan in Pumice, Montana. They have their whole little like Breaking Bad moment with the bug in the bathroom. And
Yes.
and like Kenan's like, I'm gonna go in there and take care of it. And he's bringing in like a hammer and then like a golf club. And Kyra just like grabs his arm like, be careful. And it was like one of those moments where it's like, it actually got me because it was actually like a little like wholesome brother-sister moment.
There's a good like 6-7 minutes top of that episode where it's a different sitcom. There's no Kel. And Kyra does get a chance to shine in that one. And she's the one that makes the connection at the kitchen table, right?
Yeah, she is. She like looks forlornly. She looks forlorn. Why can't I word this out? She looks forlorn. She looks sadly at a can of orange soda.
Forlornly?
Forlornly. That's the word I was trying to say. I wrote it down.
Is that a word? That does not sound like a word.
Yeah, it is. Forlornly.
Say it again.
Aaron, last episode you know gulch was a word, so I mean
That was like a key plot point to the episode.
That part kind of got to me, where she just like looked at a can of orange soda and was like, Kel loved orange soda.
it was kind of her best acting moment of the whole show.
Yeah. And then, like, when Kel comes back in that episode, like, her reunion with him is legitimately heartfelt. Like, it's not like, I missed you, my boyfriend. Like, it's like she gives him a hug and she holds on for too long, and, like, that's funny, but it's not, like, too much, you know?
Yeah, that's
right.
real good. She also has a good moment later in the episode where she's helping Cheryl out. Oh, they're painting the banister?
Mm-hmm.
And it just falls over immediately. I don't know why she wasn't in school that episode, but yeah, no, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks for including it. And let's go to number 1. Allie, kick us off.
My number 1 was the Cold War.
Oh, yeah, this is
This is a
good
great
call.
moment. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, very good call.
So, Kyra, who is, like, what, 9? 8?
Yeah, she's 9 in this episode.
She's 9 years old, and because she is the girl child, she has been conscripted to make dinner with predictable results. She made mac and cheese, but they didn't have any cheese for the mac, as Kenan points out. And Mrs. Rockmore's like, well, if you didn't use cheese, what did you use? And she was like, pork fat. And then I used mustard to make it yellow. Kyra's at her best when she's not playing her character game of creeping on Kel, I think. And this is, like, maybe the height of that moment. Like, this is the most independent she is of Kel.
I agree with that. They chose to do something a little different in this one. It's season 1. They're doing different things, and they're just like, oh yeah, what if we make Kyra the weird like sister for this moment? And it was pretty great. It's a good moment.
It's such great, like, cute, bad kid logic to be like, yeah, and then I use mustard to make it yellow. Like, that's an important part of mac and cheese.
Oh, it has to be yellow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fix this with mustard.
We should do a food episode, Adam, like a top 5 or a top 10 like food ridiculous.
And you should make some of them, like taste test them.
That's not bad.
And
I
sell
want to
them.
make a ham so badly.
Sell them at the Reading Phillies game
Yeah.
in our booth. We're gonna have a booth. That's our master plan. We're gonna have a booth at the Reading Phillies game. We think that's like the height that this podcast can reach. No, now we have a new goal. Our new goal is to get on the red carpet at Good Burger 2.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Or the orange carpet, hopefully.
If it's not orange, I'm gonna make it orange. By
okay.
golly.
How are you planning on making the red carpet orange, Aaron? Exactly. Go ahead and say it for the people.
Paint. I'm going to Burlington Coat Factory, the red carpet. I'm going to douse people with orange paint. Say, take that, Nickelodeon, you had it coming.
What?
You waited 20 years. 20 years.
I mean, if you're going to go to town, go into Lincoln. You may as well just make it slime at that point, if it's Nickelodeon specific.
I'm
a good
sure
point.
there will be slime there. I don't want to be boring and unoriginal. That's my plan.
I would happily get slimed at like the end of the event. I don't get slimed before I have to watch the movie.
I will get slimed at any point. Just let it be known.
Welcome to Finding Monster Right.
Just like a slime monster walking the orange carpet at Good Burger 2.
Just scrolling down.
It's me. That's my slime Sona.
Oh my god.
Okay, Aaron, tell me what your number 1 is.
All right, my number one has already been said. It is not Kyra's best moment, but it is the most, I think, probably the most emblematic Kyra moment. And it happens during Mo Sweater Blues. It is Kyra falling in love, head over heels with Kel, and drooling over him, and then supporting Kenan when he is in the midst of a scheme. And that is probably, like, those are some of Kyra's, like, clear, defined roles as a character. And really, it's like, it's not just her performance here, but it's her character's ability to hold, like, almost hold. I'm gonna use a bougie term, hold space for Kenan as Kenan is going off the walls, ruining the sweater, really. But Kyra's ability to hold space for Kenan in his great moment to make the show hilarious. That's kind of her job.
At the end of the episode, like, her parents show up and they're like, Kyra, what are you doing here? It's like, oh no, yeah, the most mature character gets in trouble for just being, like, at a restaurant like a normal person, not running around like a maniac.
Right, exactly. And so she just puts up with a lot, as do many siblings throughout the course of their life. And so Kyra's a good younger sibling. How's that?
That's a great call, Aaron. My number one is the only occasion that I like Kyra better than supporting Kenan is when she goes all-out war against him. The episode The Graduates. So in this one, early in the episode, she learns about Kenan's terrible secret that he is not walking for graduation. And she uses this to make him squirm. She immediately starts, like, puppeteering the family against him and keeps stacking the deck and walking him into situations where it's good for the episode. It's really good for the episode to watch Kenan try and, cringe his way out of every situation that she puts him in. And she's, like, given batteries to, like, her uncle's camera so he doesn't miss anything. And she's out there in the field watching and making sure that everyone knows. She just keeps doubling down on how terrible this is going to be for him. And I think her causing some of the trouble that Kenan's in and stretching out his web of lies is a great use for her. Definitely, we call it in the episode Proto-Megan. Like, this is 100% the seed that spawns Megan.
Which is also a good archetype for the younger sibling. If there is character development, that's like one avenue that she goes in.
Yeah. It's also the penultimate eldest episode of her, too. So this is her, like, kind of bringing those future Emmy Award-winning chops to the table.
Yeah, the energy and the insight.
I wish this isn't the Kyra we saw for, like, a couple seasons. I think season 3, she's, like, in, like, 4 episodes, and a lot of our lists were from early Kenan and Kel, so, like, I wish that would have brought her out the best.
It's possible that didn't happen because some of those early episodes weren't, like, she was still such a young actress, like Da Bomb, right? That was a big Kyra episode that we didn't bring up, but it kind of fell flat because Kyra's character was so one-dimensional because the actress was so young. And she couldn't really improv like Kenan and Kel. That's kind of what it was.
They didn't know what to do with her yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That episode was a lot of her, even though she had a large role, it was her, like, saying "ha ha," and locking people in rooms and stuff.
It reminded me a lot of, like, this is going to be a very specific reference, but for the BBC Sherlock fandom, how, like, the John Locke pairing of Sherlock and John Watson is so popular, so much so that, like, when they actually introduced a female character onto the show that is supposed to be, like, Sherlock's love interest, the fans just, like, attacked this woman. Like, they just, like, the digital and maybe sometimes physical equivalent of just, like, physically turning into a giant wolf and just tearing them apart with their claws. I feel like that's Kyra. Kyra is a Tumblr fangirl for Kel.
Yeah, so when someone else gets in the way, she, like, messes them up. And both with Leah and Megan.
It's toxic. It's a internalized misogyny. It's a bad trait that you got to grow out of. And I think a lot of kids have that. I think that's kind of true in a dark way.
That is a good point. Even though that she is very, I would call it intelligent in the show. She gets straight A's. Like, she's starts scheming as time goes on. But she is, that is the emotional kind of stuntedness of her. She's got that one fix, that one focus.
Very familiar with that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's also, she's a younger sibling in a show that is not named after her. It's like, it's not her show. And at the end of the day, it still does kind of like, people are watching the show for Kenan and Kel to an extent. Of course, like great supporting characters are important, but it's kind of like the shadow of the younger sibling, in a way too. It's like there's like Kyra is kind of like the one who doesn't mess up. Most of what her, like, back to that supporting Kel thing, a lot of times what Kel wants is just what Kenan wants. And so it's this kind of like supporting.
It's like an echo of an echo.
Yeah, right. So it creates a little bit of hollowness, if you will.
Let's take a moment here and try and theorize and flesh out what some nice traits to add to Kyra might be. If they had like a season 5 or like a separate spin-off show. Like, what would we want to see more from Kyra?
At that point, let's say Kyra would be as old as Kenan and Kel were in season 1 or season 2.
I think she should work at Rigby's with Kenan. Right?
I could see that her having a Charla-style role. You're clearly the better and more mature and smarter of my employees.
Right. Rachel and I worked at the same restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
So it's common for siblings to work in the same places. And so I think, like, maybe if Kenan goes to college, maybe his role, maybe he goes to college in Chicago and he still, like, comes home every now and then or, like, sees her at Rigby's. And so there could be, like, an interaction there. But I think her working at Rigby's would kind of make a lot of sense because it would continue that, like, critical piece of Kenan and Kel,
Critical, even.
Whimsical.
I'm also thinking about, like, the traits that she does show in the show and how those might be, like, elaborated. I think it'd be awesome if she always, like, cooked, like, crazy monstrosities. Like, that's just, like, her taste. Like, she likes eating, like, mustard on things where it doesn't belong.
Right, and then Roger and Cheryl are perpetually just upset that the food that their child is making, but they're not going to complain because she's making food.
They're scarred by Kyra food night.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she touches on something that Kenan and Kel don't do, which is like former gifted kid, where she's very like intellectually smart, or she tests well, but she is just like, as a teenager, not even remotely like at a functional level emotionally yet. This is not based on me. And also I think maybe she should ride an ostrich horse and save this village from some earthbending soldiers. I don't know, maybe.
I do like that angle, because that is, like, we don't see her with her peers. If we did,
right.
I wonder if they're all like, why are you so obsessed about this guy that, like, doesn't go to our school? Like, he's not around. Like, it's almost like she's almost like a horse girl for Kel.
So, what if Kel was the janitor at Kyra's school? Right? Because Kel needs a job, right? What if that probably wouldn't fly, but
no.
He's too young.
You don't think he's going to college?
No, probably not. I don't know. It doesn't strike me in that way.
Well, he's got two very successful parents. Maybe they they bought him like a seat in college situation.
That's
I think
possible.
it's much funnier if he does extremely well in college.
And doesn't try at all, right? He goes he goes like to the same college as Kenan, and Kenan is just really working hard, and Kel is just like, oh, that was easy.
The only way for Kel and Kyra to work is if there's a space. Is if Kel goes away and leaves for a bit and comes back, as they're both, I guess, of an appropriate age. Maybe if it make more sense if they're like 26 and 32.
I honestly kind of like the idea of, like, by the time that Kyra's, 15 or so and she's working at Rigby's, she's over Kel. Like, that kind of precocious crush was just like a little phase. Because then it's kind of like, all right, what's left on this, like, blank canvas of a human being?
It's like doors open for everything else. Yeah, just like you said. And maybe that's something that would be explored instead of like the Hannah Montana sitcom thing where, like, there's a new crush of the week. Maybe she's, like, over, like, romantic entanglements and stuff like that. She's more of like a Daria to her friend group.
Maybe she's just too anxious for that kind of thing.
It's hard, too, because it's like, who are her peers is a really good question. Who does she hang with? Who's her Kel? It's like, and why don't we see any of that? The show was just about Kenan. It would not be as good.
I do like that idea. She's missing for like 34 or so episodes of this. Maybe she has like a Kel that she's always off doing things. She's the Kel in the relationship. She's the one that's not at home.
There's an alternate universe where this show is called Kyra and Callie or something like that.
I have a pitch.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Kyra and Megan.
Oh,
Like,
they once were enemies,
interesting.
but now they're friends.
Like, what we saw in Clowning Around was, like, one instance of them just, like, going back and forth on each other, and then over time they realize that they've gotten in each other's heads so much that they're in each other's heads, and they're actually best friends.
How about the reason Megan in Drake and Josh is so, like, bitter and upset is because she left her best friend Kyra.
Oh, whoa.
Do we think it's the same Megan? She
No,
looks
but,
enough like Miranda Cosgrove that it could work, but like
That's what I think Megan, I think Kyra, I think like, young sister supporting a 2 male role. So I always think throw like an overlap between Drake and Josh. This is probably too much of a reach.
And then Andrew Garfield comes out of a portal. Like,
Yes, that's actually what I want. I really just want Andrew Garfield here right now.
you and me both, guys. This is a well-documented celebrity crush of mine.
Perfect.
For as blank of a blank slate Kyra is, Megan's even blanker. She could be a good friend, a bad friend, not just a popular kid. Maybe she was once popular, and then she like loses rank, and she has to now she's now down at Kyra's level, and that's where they rebuild things. Maybe they do more school-based activities. Kenan and Kel are never in the school. Maybe that's where all their adventures happen in that kind of setting.
And like, what's crazy is that Megan actually saw Kyra firebending, and now she doesn't trust her anymore.
Yeah, but I think the point is like she needs an opposite, right? She needs somebody to balance her out as a character if there was ever going to be a season 5 but another question is like, what would a reboot look like with Kyra's character?
In our reboot pitches, I posited that Kyra got together with Kel down the line, and she's the stable one in the relationship. She's the one with a good paying job, which allows her to not be in a lot of episodes, but still they can do regular activities. She kind of takes over the parent's role in the I'll appear now and then, drop a good liner, and I might be gone for a couple episodes.
Right.
That was my thought process. Do you guys have other thoughts?
I'm not sure about her getting together with Kel ultimately.
I wasn't sure about that either, I don't think.
I only did that because that's like her only traits.
Yeah.
But like her getting better than Kel is good to me.
Well, let me put it this way. It's an Adam line. Let me put it this way. 10 and 15 is like an adorable little precocious childhood crush. Like, aw, pat, pat, pat. 13 and 18, that's weird as hell. But then, like, 20 and 25, that's not the weirdest.
Add a couple more years on that, and it gets very normal.
Yeah, and then, like, 60 and 65, that's, like, not even a question.
Logistically speaking, it makes sense from from that perspective, but it's like, yeah, what would a reboot look like? I think again, it always comes back to, like, what would the actors actually do? But, like, what would they want? What's Vanessa Baden's style where she would, what character would she want to play or direct or create,
That's a good point.
She works a lot behind the scenes now, apparently, so I'm sure she would want to get a hand on that ball.
Right, of the character development and, all that kind of stuff, too.
It's tough. We've seen a couple more reboots come and go since our episode. Like, that 90s show is out now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's tough because characters are kind of almost like frozen in carbonites. They're, like, stuck in, like, the era that was the most popular of the show. It's like you're seeing really season 3 characters are what is on screen, not ignoring like that 5 seasons of changes and alterations happen.
Is it the same actors and actresses?
There's a lot of cameos from the original cast, and Red and Kitty are still there.
Of course.
It'd be annoying if Kyra only came back to still just love Kel. That'd be stupid.
That would be bad.
I'd want her to be her own character if she returned. Even that character is totally something I didn't expect. I think as a kid, she wore a lot of like those overalls and stuff. What if they took that direction? They said, oh, she is a mechanic. She knows all about cars and fixing them.
Oh.
So she wears overalls, and that's her role.
You really go off of the two heads scene.
Yeah.
It's like she is now kick butt professional mechanic.
That sounds worse somehow.
Jay Leno style car connoisseur. You know, she's on like that show, like the one where the guy goes around and like fixes up muscle cars. You know, she has her own Discovery Channel show. She's got like this like iconic hair. She's got like a Guy Fieri kind of caricature about her. This is a terrible idea.
She would have some kind of iconic hairstyle, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And her show's called Chicago.
Bingo.
Oh my God.
Got it.
Chick Cargo or something like.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, that's too much.
Yes, it's too much.
That's a hat on a hat.
Well, once Allie gets here, I overthink my titles way too much.
That explains our entire show, where all of the titles of all of our episodes are 2 titles for some reason. So I was like, something, 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 colon, something, something else. By Fallout Boy. I like the idea of like the garage that she works at being hers, like she's the Chris.
Oh, how about Rigby? How about Rigby's turns into a garage?
That's insane. Yes. That's so weird.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
It's like she's now the manager of the garage, and like Kenan, he like, you know, is like the bum brother that works there.
That wouldn't fly. That wouldn't work. Also, that's probably a terrible location for a garage. Just like,
Yeah.
Also, not the best for a TV show set. They gotta bring a car on there every week.
make a lot of noise in the background, you know.
Yeah, a bunch of machines and guys that just going about.
But anyways, a great idea, a great concept.
I think so.
Any other thoughts on where Kyra could go?
Well, as an adult is different. I really think that casting her in like a different, you know, TV show where she's 15 and that spinoff, it's kind of like She-Ra. You know the She-Ra on Netflix? They don't have He-Man show up in that whole show, and they just have She-Ra stand like on her own merit. I think it would have been cool if they brought him back for the finale, where it's like, oh yeah, this was his show. I kind of like taking that approach to it, where like Kenan and Kel aren't even in the show really. Like I think I'd like to sprinkle that seasoning a little bit throughout the show.
A true spinoff.
Yeah, but I don't want them to be like a main character.
Right.
It's the Kyra years, basically.
Right.
It's Kenan and Kel. You hear about them getting into trouble in college, but meanwhile, what's happening back home?
Well, you know what? It's like I wonder if that was a possibility for Nickelodeon, but instead of having a show about a teenage black girl, they had a show about 2 white guys in San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder, you know what I mean?
It wasn't until Kiki Palmer got her time in the sun.
That's right. I mean, and that was quite a few years later, like 10 years later.
Yeah, True Jackson VP was 2008, so I'm sorry, 8 years later.
Still, I mean, you know, long time. Mm-hmm. You had Kyra right there. She probably didn't want to keep going.
She was right there.
She was right there. You could have done so much. Yeah.
Honestly, when we were like talking about podcasts back on that fateful hike that one time, that was, I think, kind of the birth of this show and Finding Monster Right. All the shows in the Adams Universe Podcast Network, not official. Pitching it right now in the middle of the sentence. I was like, I don't know about Kenan and Kel as a topic. Like, I was more into Drake and Josh as a kid. You should do a show about that. Bullet dodged.
Yeah. Yeah, even in the early show, I'm like, oh yeah, once we finish Kenan and Kel, we'll do Drake and Josh. No, that like just...
Cut the feed.
Bits of poison just dripping off every angle.
No, I wouldn't have this theme for Drake and Josh. Also, I watched Drake and Josh much more too, but I really have enjoyed going back in time and kind of like exploring a whole different show, kind of, you know, like I know all the Drake and Josh lines. Oh, what are we gonna say? Oh, I love that one. It's like, give me a little depth of character,
line.
You know what I mean? Give me a little introspection into the Nickelodeon. I love mystery, and so Kenan and Kel is far more mysterious than Drake and Josh to me, because I don't know. I was just a boy. I was just a child.
I think the media review format very much benefits from someone that's a more, fresh to material. And yeah, with both people, like that's why like 2 like Simpsons nerds don't go back and do like a Simpsons podcast.
Yeah, that would be bad.
People like the Simpsons. I don't know why I chose them to dunk on.
Adam, do you mean that I'm not a Kenan and Kel expert?
You are now. And I think Allie is too, by the transitive property of listening to every episode.
In the spectrum of, like, every person on the planet, I'm in, like, the top 1 percentile.
Oh, way more than that.
Yeah. And all our Fantas rank themselves up there.
We're
That's
all
right.
experts, Fantas.
That's right, and it's because of Adam. And I helped.
That sounds bad. That sounds like...
And Adam's time is over.
Patient zero.
Fantas, rise up. We're taking the podcast. Viva la revolution.
Kenan and Kel with, you just need
with
a couple
everybody.
more people.
Kenan and Kel with everyone.
With all.
Viva la Aranja.
Viva el refresco. I don't know.
Is there a final segment for this Kyra / Vanessa Baden fangirl appreciation show?
There is not. Vanessa, you did a great job. We'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Our fans of the week is Allie. Thank you for joining us.
I'm touched. Thank you, guys.
Do you want to talk a bit about our show?
Yeah, I co-host a podcast with Adam called Finding Monster Right. It's the show about finding monsters, right?
Right.
He didn't even have to think about that. It's just in his brain.
It's a reflex now.
We pick a monster every week. We define monster pretty broadly. Sometimes it's a movie, sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's an ancient myth inscribed on a stone or something. That's only kind of an exaggeration. Like mythology, fiction, folklore, we do it all. And we just kind of talk about it, and we throw the monster into just, like, some, like, silly premise. Like, how would Cerberus do at, like, the Eukanuba dog show? Or, like, every lake seems to have a lake monster that's, like, based on Nessie. Which one is real, and which one is just trying to be Nessie?
What would Jesus xenomorph?
Yeah, canonically, Ridley Scott said something once that, like, the engineers from Prometheus, that Jesus was one of them. And so we were like, what would Jesus do with aliens technology?
I guarantee you there's a media topic out there for you in one of our episodes. So the link will be in the show notes, and you can find us on where podcasts are. Finding Monster Rights.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to invite myself onto the show.
Absolutely.
At this moment to talk about a monster to be determined. Please invite me. I'd be 100%. Happy to join.
You are invited.
Yes.
I'm going over Adam's head on this one. Viva la revolution.
No, I'll also agree. If you can believe it.
Very good then.
But nice handshake, by the way.
Thank you. Quite good, yes.
Tune in for that. We'll definitely plug it on this program when it goes out. We have a brief announcement that we are going to go on a short break because of Aaron's travels.
Yes, I am going to Kenya for work because I work at a nonprofit
in Kenya
called Water is Life Kenya. Yes. So if you'd like to learn more, go to waterislifekenya.com and maybe donate if you have a bunch of money, because that makes me look really good. And but I'm just kidding. You really don't have to. Just buy some Kenan and Kel merch. Yes, I'll be going to Kenya. I'll be doing some field work and taking lots of photos. And
if I understand it, you're trying to find the cure for the common cold.
Yes. How did you know? I didn't tell anybody.
You also are experimenting with turkey boxing gloves.
I can't believe this information got out. My real goal is to bring an orange soda well, like a wellspring of orange soda to this nation that has been deprived of it. I will make sure to find all the orange soda in the markets in Nairobi and send pictures.
Please do.
I cannot wait to drink orange soda in Africa.
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm collecting it from all locations. I have pictures of French Fanta, too. I want to make this gallery. This art piece. Do you want me to save the bottle? Because that would be your gift. There's not only so much space in the suitcase. Yeah, I get it.
Aaron, I have a pitch for you. Bring back a monster. That can be what your Finding Monster Right episode's about.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
like learn about like a folklore.
An urban legend,
okay.
Folklore.
Or like go out into the brush with the net and hope for the best.
Or do some kind of like lion or hyena or some kind of actual monster, like a living monster.
Do what they do in The Shape of Water. Watch that on the plane. Watch that on the plane on the way over.
I can watch it a couple times probably. It's a long flight.
You'll get enjoyment out of multiple watches.
There's 2 layovers. Okay.
Oh, God.
One of them's in the ocean. Perfect place to watch it.
Yes, actually, I think one's Atlantis. No, Atlanta.
Well, thank you, Allie. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, everyone, for listening to
welcome.
another episode. We will tune in come time, I think March-ish. I think it'll be March Madness time when you get back.
Oh, we'll start the bracket?
Ooh.
We're going to do a bracket of a best episode.
And we will be on time.
Yes, it'll happen in the March of Madness.
And in the meantime, if you're looking for a podcast to listen to, maybe you want one that's a little, not very Aaron heavy, but like certainly a lot of Adam. And also, like, what if there was just like some great like LGBT rep on there, you know? And what if maybe Frankenstein took a driver test? I just made that one up. Can we do that one, Adam?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
I like that very much. I will be tuning in from. What if I listen to it?
Yeah.
If I listen to it in Kenya, do you think it'll like register as like you have
please do,
another
yeah.
country?
Listen to both our shows. I want to get those stats.
Yeah, get those.
I don't know
stats.
I don't know that for sure, one way or another. Can you do that?
On that note, everybody, it was great talking about Kyra with you. We will see you next time in a little bit. Until then, drink some orange soda, and here it goes.
Thank you for listening. You can send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at KenanKelPodcast. Before we get too far, let's quick talk about some Kenan and Kel news. Thank you, Allie, for actually humming the actual tune that's played.
You're welcome.
Allie, why do you gotta do me like that, Allie?
I was backing you up.
I never do the tune though. Adam always cuts it out. I always make up my own. I'm my own Linda Ellerby.
Let's make up a new one right now. All right.
Okay. Boo boo da ba ba da ba ba da ba. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba. This is hard to do over.
It's not easy. No.
Hey, do you want to start us?
Uh,
I'll start us if you want.
no, I got it.
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll start.
All right.